Fontara Corporation is a small group of employees with big responsibilities. Their key players are involved in every deal, change order, and policy update. Fontara is preparing for a renewal with an important vendor and must ensure that the renewal terms align with their current risk posture. Using DocuSign agents, let's see how the team can meet this challenge. At the start of the renewal, the business stakeholder submits a request to legal via Agreement Desk. This request includes key fields like vendor name, renewal date, deal size, and risk level. Behind the scenes, Agreement Desk agents auto-triage the request and assign it to the legal team with the appropriate priority. Non-standard terms, like deviations from standard liability caps, are automatically flagged for review. Maria, General Counsel at Fontara, is assigned the request and begins the legal review process. As negotiations progress, the activity feed fills up with documents, comments, and questions from the business and the vendor. Maria can request a concise request summary or redline summary to quickly catch up before a meeting. Once the renewal is finalized and signed, the agreements are automatically centralized in Agreement Manager. The executed MSA, amendments, and SOWs are all linked to the same vendor record, with metadata and key terms surfaced for future analysis. Within Agreement Manager, Maria has a document repository that gives her access to all of the vendor agreements. She searches and can quickly find past renewals. Maria navigates to the completed agreements and filters by party to access all MSAs, amendments, SOWs, and key correspondence stored as agreements to understand where the risks and opportunities are before negotiations begin. Instead of reading each document herself, she gets help from DocuSign Iris by starting a conversation specifically about these agreements. Maria adds a prompt: summarize the prevailing liability, termination, and data protection terms, and highlight any non-standard concessions we've made over time. She reviews the results and can quickly verify by clicking the citations provided, which take her to the relevant clauses within the agreements. Next, Maria prompts Iris to compare these terms to our current legal playbook for critical vendors and suggest safer fallback positions where we've accepted higher than standard risk. The results return a set of redline recommendations and comments, along with a few concessions that she may want to leave as they are because they are tied to specific regulatory requirements or negotiated discounts. Maria doesn't just accept Iris's suggestions. Instead, she reviews each recommendation to decide which are necessary for the upcoming renewal and which are flexible. Maria opens the draft contract and, using DocuSign AI-assisted review, highlights the limitation of liability clause. She prompts, compare this clause to our standard position for critical infrastructure vendors and suggest a safer alternative. Within seconds, she receives a revised clause that aligns with Fontara's playbook and explains the rationale in plain language, how the change affects caps, exclusions, and alignment with prior concessions. Maria evaluates the suggestion, makes a few adjustments, and applies the red line to the document. Months later, during an audit, Maria asks Iris which documents were signed. She can quickly retrieve a summary of key terms, generate an audit-ready report, and share it with confidence, knowing every statement can be traced back to the underlying agreements. Throughout this journey, agents never replace Maria's legal judgment. Instead, they surface details faster, standardize repetitive analysis, and keep work flowing through Agreement Desk so nothing falls through the cracks before signature. By combining Iris, AI-assisted review, Agreement Manager, Agreement Desk agents, and Agent Studio, DocuSign helps Maria's team scale their impact across the entire agreement lifecycle and the rest of the business, from intake and analysis, to negotiation and renewal, to ongoing portfolio insight.